Welcome to week 2 of child development. This is Dr. Carola Fortner, your instructor. Such an important week we have here because what we're learning about this week is prenatal and postnatal development, or we may add to our information if you're already knowledgeable. But this is such a precursor to healthy development throughout one's life. It is just an important chapter. The CDC suggests that we actually make healthy choices before we even get pregnant to prevent birth defects. And this makes a lot of sense when we think about our cultural habits. If very traditionally, we were supposed to wait with having sexual intercourse until our wedding night, and then many people still feel safe to then have unprotected sex. And if you think about, that's a time really when a lot of alcohol consumption takes place. The wedding, the honeymoon, all of this is connected through traditions that involve alcohol. So this can be a very bad situation. And here's actually a very good website that I also include in our announcement in terms of the very heartbreaking stories of families and women particularly who have had children diagnosed with alcohol syndrome. And many of them will tell you that they stopped drinking once they knew that they were pregnant, and that is actually a time then, which is oftentimes about a couple months into pregnancy, 8 weeks or so, when the damage can already have been done in a lot of ways. So this is a very important topic to us, and let's take a look here at our week. So we are in week 2. Here's our overview, and it tells us about our to-do list, and you first are going to be doing some reading in Knowledge Path, and very important and very interesting. Then you have a discussion board where you have a discussion assignment to discuss exercise and eating habits for mom's health care during pregnancy. There will be an individual assignment where we have a case study again. Maribel is going to bring closer to us the real situation. And then there is another individual assignment where you design a topical brochure. And I think that's very creative and a fun week ahead. So I want to just make a couple remarks here about our discussion in this week. In the last week you did a good job. However, there was a little bit of a concern in my mind about the kinds of sources that we use when we talk about scientific sources. So in this case here, in this discussion, it still asks that you want to demonstrate knowledge and support your exercises, for example, with scholarly sources. And scholarly sources are academic sources. That means they come from peer-reviewed journals, and I gave you some hints here in the discussion. The reason for that is that we kind of become the horse's mouth when we are involved in academic studies. We have direct access to scientific information, which is not true for the general population. So you actually become the very people who can translate the research information into something that's a little bit more popular knowledge. And therefore, we're going to practice using those types of sources. So I hope you, as always, have an interesting week. I'm going to show you quick our announcements for this week, and I'm going to add this little video to it. There is a really great movie to watch, and that is The Greatest Miracles. It's about an hour long, and it's just a wonderful movie about the developing fetus and how actually this works blow by blow. Here is a clickable link to that website that I showed you about fetal alcohol syndrome. Lots of very good information, but also touching stories. And then I've put up a little overview here in terms of what is drinking safe It's never safe, obviously, during any time during pregnancy, not even during late pregnancy, because that's when the brain has another burst of development. But it's surprising for a lot of people that one small glass of wine a day and maybe two on Saturday will actually move you into heavy drinking. And particularly with wine, one drink is not like a whole glass of wine, but it's probably less than half of a regular glass that we use for wine, and it's just a little bit more than a half a cup of wine. So let's take a look at this. One bottle has only 5 servings, and when we look at light drinking, a light drinker drinks half a bottle of wine or less per week, which is 2.5 glasses or 3 cans of beer. Moderate drinking is if you were to have less than 1.5 bottles of wine, and that's 6 glasses. And heavy drinking is 1.5 bottles of wine or more, which gives you those 7, 1 glass per night and 1 extra glass on the weekend. That's already considered heavy drinking. So always good information, practical or scientific. Have a good week and email me with any questions that you might have.